Looking on Facebook, it says rotating, starting.
Live on Instagram.
Hold on, 3, 2. It's got the spinny circle. It's working. Okay, we're good. Yep.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Kyle Long, and my good friend Keith here brought me in to hang out here with Chapel Hill Parks and Recs climbing wall. A little bit about me. So I've been climbing for several years now, and in the past years I've had a lot of really wonderful success thanks to the support of people like Keith and the town of Chapel Hill and their great facility. I've had a lot of success competing and at the adaptive climbing nationals, spirit climbing nationals, and the last 2 years I took 4th and 2nd respectively, and the last year qualified me for climbing in the paraclimbing world championship in France, and I was very fortunate. I took 13th. So anyways, that's enough about me, guys. So anyways, what I'm here for today is I'm here to give you guys some really hopefully helpful tips and hints as to how you can be a better climber. And so we're just climbing in general because we're going to start it off really basic. So just to start off really basic, safety first. I've got a nice harness. This harness keeps me safe, and the gist, I'm not going to teach you exactly how to use it, but just follow the manufacturer's specifications for use of a climbing harness. We also use ropes, again, safety. Again, follow the manufacturer's specifications and recommendations for how to use ropes and harnesses, and you'll probably be okay. All right, so now moving on to climbing.
Did you say probably be okay?
You'll probably be okay, yeah. Truly nothing is a guarantee, but you'll probably be okay.
Disclaimer.
All right, so moving forward, if we're to talk about climbing, climbing is a serious and dangerous activity. That's why you need to be safe. All right, so if we can talk about how to climb, right? We've all heard of climbing on ladders. I'm sure everyone's climbed on a ladder at least once. They climbed up a step stool, right? That's, in a manner of speaking, it's kind of like climbing. You're using your body and your senses to get yourself up a thing, right? And climbing here is a lot like that. We have some really nice, big, easy holds, and we have some not so easy to use small holds.
From Rock Candy Holds.
From Rock Candy Holds. They make excellent holds, guys. If you're looking to build a home wall during this whole quarantine time, they're probably a good source to go to for good quality holds. All right, so if we could come in closer, this is the easiest kind of hold that you could possibly use for your hands. It's called a jug because it's almost like grabbing a jug of milk. You just grab that thing, you can hold on to it, and as long as you're not just like super tired and exhausted, odds are you can probably hold on to it. Whenever you see small little holds and they're down low, odds are that's for your feet. Usually it's for your feet. So if I'm to establish myself on a rock climb, usually I'll try to pick a color. A color is going to represent the route. So I'll go ahead and I'll grab my starting hold, which in this case is this one. It's a nice, generous, easy to use jug. Both hands on, one foot on one foot goes on the other, and then I can start taking off and I can start climbing. So that's usually the gist of how you're going to move yourself up. You're just going to use your body to get yourself up. So really quick, if we could talk about other ways of grabbing a hold. We know that this one, it's like grabbing a rung on a ladder. You're going to put 2 hands on it, we're going to pull. Very easy to use. There are some holds that can be a little bit trickier to use and require a little bit more finesse and technique. This would be one of them. It's called a side pull. Again, this one, easy to use, just straight downward. This one is kind of a little bit more difficult to use. If I just try to grab this with both hands and pull myself up, it's really hard because it doesn't really orient itself in a direction that makes that easy. However, if I grab it from the side and I'm leaning against it, it's a lot easier to use. So generally speaking, whichever direction the easiest side to use faces, you want to be on the opposite side, which is the same for this. This is easy to pull when I'm underneath it. This is easier to pull on when I'm off to the side of it. We have some other interesting different types of holds. This one is an undercling. If I try to grab it from underneath over the top, I'm going to have a really hard time grabbing that and holding on to it. But if I grab underneath of the hold, I can use a little bit of tension and I can hold on to it pretty easily. Right here we have a type of hold called a sloper. Slopers can be really tricky and they can be really fun. Generally with a sloper, the higher you are on a sloper, the harder it is to use. But if I stay low on the sloper, I keep my arms straight, it's a little bit easier to use. As soon as I get above a sloper, it can be really hard for me to hold myself on. And then I end up falling off. So that's kind of a few basic types of holds. Generally speaking, whenever you're climbing, you're going to get to a certain point and you're not going to know what to do with your hands. Have you guys ever seen Talladega Nights? There's that one scene where Will Ferrell's getting interviewed and he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I feel like as climbers, it's very easy to find ourselves in that position frequently. So generally, whenever you're not knowing what to do with your hands, consider your feet. If you have more than one foot. Some of us don't, unfortunately. So if I'm getting up here and I don't really know what's going on, I'm climbing, everything's really easy. All right. Oh man, I'm not really sure what to do. This holds out of reach, that holds out of reach. I feel really stretched out, I'm not really sure what to do. Maybe I need to reconsider where I'm putting my feet. This holds pretty good. Maybe I can stand up on it. And so I can. So I'm able to get up a little bit higher if I stop thinking about my hands so much and instead reconsider my feet. Sometimes you end up in situations where you have to put both appendages, as many as you may have, on the same hold. And that's what we call matching. You can put two hands on a hold. We call that a hand match. You can put 2 feet on a hold. We call it a foot match. Sometimes you'll put a hand and a foot on a hold. That's called a hand-foot match, or a hand and your heel. That'll be called a hand-heel match. So if I could find a place really quick to demonstrate that.
Could you do it on the...
What we did on the start over there was an example of a hand-to-hand match. So we have this nice big hold here. Once I've put 2 hands on it, I've matched the hold. And sometimes that might happen if I'm needing to go this way, I don't really know what to do with my other hand. I match the hold, then I can go up. Likewise, once I am up, again, matching. Sometimes I might find myself in a situation where, well, this balance is really hard for me to maintain. It's really tricky. Maybe if I can hold onto this hold and put my foot on the hold at the same time, we've done a hand-foot match, then I can move up to the next hold.
So Kyle, you think I could do a match here? Let's see if I can do this match here. Let me see. Belly to hand match. You can hold it with my belly.
A belly to hand match.
Look at that. See? Look at that.
Now Keith might be able to do a belly-to-hand match because he's got a lot of core power. The average person cannot do a belly-to-hand match.
So
I have not mastered that skill myself.
So that was an ab thing?
That was a belly to hand match. Yeah.
Oh.
And so probably one of the most important types of matches you'll do on routes that are really balancy, it's called a foot match. A foot match is not very easy. It's not easy to do it right. Some people, when they're very new at climbing, they'll have their foot on here, they'll just jump, and they'll jump, and they'll jump. But that's very inefficient. It's not a good use of your muscles. It demands a lot on the arms. We can save a lot of energy if instead I put one foot on the other, and I pop the other one out. I put one foot on the other, I pop it out. Okay, so there's just some basic ways of using holds, and some basic ways of using your hands, and basic ways of using your feet.
How about a match on a dyno? You want to show them that?
Sure, let's do that real quick.
Let's go for it.
All right.
Keith giving out suggestions. Keith, are you going to do this one too?
No, keep on listening to that.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Question from Average Husband. when you go natural rock on the natural rock wall, are there stones all multicolored? If not, why?
So sometimes there are, because in natural geography, some stones are in fact multicolored. I'm no expert on geology or anything like that, but I've definitely been to my fair share of places where the rock transitions from orange to like a nice, brilliant quartz color, to to a brown, to a black, and sometimes it has dirt, and then sometimes a spider crawls out. And you're like, oh my goodness, what do I do now? That's never quite entirely ideal, but that's just what happens sometimes.
Beautiful.
It's even less ideal when you're like 15 feet run out past the last bolt. If you know what that means, you know why that's not entirely ideal. All right.
So you're gonna show us a match on this rock up there, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do my best to show you guys a match on this rock. Keith is kind of putting me on the spot right now. I'm not going to talk a lot about tying a knot because you can look up how to tie a double back figure eight knot on YouTube.
On our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel, we show how to belay and tie the knot.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Keith, for doing that.
There you go.
All right, so we're going to start off. This route has a nice mix of jugs and some slopers, and up high, it even has some crimps. In the middle, it's got a dyno. I'm not quite exactly in a competition shape at the moment, which is okay.
Good free
But we're gonna do our best to make it happen. So before you start climbing, I as the climber want to ask Keith, on belay?
Belay is on.
Okay, Keith has checked himself, and he's checking me. I'm checking myself, and I'm checking him. And we both established that we're on the same rope by saying on belay and belay on, and then ask him, climbing?
Climb away.
Excellent. And if you don't do theatric hands, it doesn't count.
It's like Talladega Nights. You gotta do something with your hands.
That's right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start climbing then.
If anybody has comments for tricks to make Kyle do, let us know.
Let's get ready to be a trick here.
Comment below.
Here we go.
Get mad at it.
Oh! First try.
So here we're going to see an example of a hand-heel match.
Oh. That's classy right there.
He is shredding it.
Now, as easy as Kyle makes that look, it's okay if it takes a few tries. Very
There's
nice.
an example of the dyno. You got some hand matches, maybe a foot match, hand-heel match, all around fun stuff.
You know what, Kyle?
What's that?
I've learned a lot. I think I can beat you climbing up the wall.
All right, you picked
Just
it
because
up.
you're 13th in the world and I'm 300 pounds, I think I can beat you today. I feel froggy.
All right,
I think I'm going to pick J, and you can pick K.
it's okay to be delusional.
So it is.
He said it's okay to be delusional.
So
All right. Comment who you think is going to win.
Average husband says he did a wonderful job. He did a nice job.
Thank you, Alex.
He also said his Kyle sleep in a bunk bed that he can only get to via a rock wall.
Probably.
Hashtag goals.
All right, our cameras look pretty good. How's Instagram looking?
It's getting there. I think. Did you zoom yours in? Oh, if I zoom in, you can't see the top. He's trying to get a heads up.
You can have this right behind your position.
We're going for the green rock at the top, everybody. So Kyle had a little bit of disadvantage, but he's also ranked 14th in the world, so he can go over a little bit. And I'm gonna go straight up and go up to the person to bring rock at the top first, wins. We're not gonna stay around. We're gonna rainbow it as best we can. And go.
He was trying to break that. Take that thing off.
Yeah.
We're maintaining it.
Alright, come on, go.
Are you doing it from here?
On your mark. Are you so good? And mark. It's set. Go. I want two more behind that.
Are you ready to love it, Keith?
I'm ready to roll it. So how many is that for me?
0! Keith has won exactly 0 challenges. Who was surprised? Who was not surprised? He tries really hard though, you guys.
Alright, we're gonna climb one more.
One more?
We got a little more time. Kyle's gonna show us how to climb this on the ground.
Are you climbing it too, Keith?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That'd be a negative Ghost Rider.
Negative Ghost Rider.